Good evening, my intrepid viewers, and welcome to the latest installment of A Descent into the Maelstrom, a weekly forum where I, Edgar Allan Poe, summon characters from all the greatest tales told throughout all time to illuminate our path through the tempest of modern existence, exploring their wisdom on literature, life, and confronting the eternal challenges that haunt our times. Prepare now, dear viewers, to voyage with me through the mysterious currents of history and imagination as we begin a descent into the Maelstrom. For tonight's installment, we traverse the realm of the human psyche, the boundary between good and evil, and the intricate dance of guilt and redemption as we delve into the echoes of history and unravel the strands that bind 19th century Russia to our modern age, in a riveting dialogue with none other than Mr. Rodion Raskolnikov, the enigmatic and tormented soul of Fyodor Dostoevsky's masterpiece, Crime and Punishment. With Mr. Raskolnikov as our guide, we shall cast our gaze upon the parallels and disparities between the Russia of his creator's era and the Russia that now pulses through the veins of our contemporary world. The echoes of a society in flux, the dance of ideals and realities, shall resonate through our conversation as we explore the hues of progress and the ghosts of history that linger within the Russian psyche. But before we begin our discussion with one of the greatest literary characters ever penned, let us first briefly recall his horrifying yet forever timely tale. In Crime and Punishment, we are presented with a protagonist whose name echoes with an inherent discord, a schism within his very soul. Dostoevsky unveils the depths of this internal turmoil as Raskolnikov wrestles with the dichotomy of his actions and the moral ramifications they entail. Such a portrayal resonates deeply with the romantic sensibilities of the time, a time marked by a fascination with the darker recesses of human nature. Central to the tapestry Dostoevsky weaves is Raskolnikov's theory of the extraordinary man. This theory, which proposes that certain individuals are permitted to transgress conventional morality for the greater good, forces us to grapple with the very essence of moral relativism. Is there a realm where the common ethical compass may be suspended in favor of some perceived noble end? Or does this notion, as Dostoevsky suggests, inevitably lead us down a path of desolation? As we dissect the intricate layers of Raskolnikov's consciousness, the motif of guilt emerges as a driving force behind the narrative. The psychological disintegration that accompanies guilt, a phenomenon I have explored in much of my own work, is portrayed with a vividness that is at once chilling and profound. Raskolnikov's fevered internal monologues mirror the agonizing descent into madness, and in this, we glimpse the abyss that lies within us all. While immersing ourselves in the world Dostoevsky crafts, let us recognize the power of literature to hold a mirror to our own existence, to provoke contemplation, and to inspire us to explore the darkest corners of our souls. And with that, let us now welcome Mr. Raskolnikov to our humble forum of inquiries.
Thank you, Mr. Poe. It is an honor to join you in this discourse.
Now, my dear guest, let us begin by traversing time's corridor and ponder upon the Russia of yore compared to the Russia that casts its long shadow today. How does the tapestry of your era align with the modern threads?
Mr. Poe, the comparison between the era I inhabited and modern Russia is a complex and multifaceted one. While there are undeniable differences, some echoes of my time persist in the contemporary Russian landscape.
Please expound upon this for us, good sir.
In the St. Petersburg of my era, the social and economic disparities were stark. The divide between the privileged aristocracy and the impoverished masses was glaringly evident. Today's Russia still grapples with economic inequalities, though the dynamics have evolved in response to changing political and economic systems. In my time, the grip of poverty and societal alienation weighed heavily on many, much as it does for some in modern Russia. The struggle for survival and the alienation that accompanies it are themes that resonate across time, transcending eras and regimes. Yet in the present day, Russia stands on a different stage in the global arena. The dissolution of the Soviet Union brought about significant political and economic transformations, leading to a different set of challenges and opportunities. The nation has re-emerged as a formidable player in international affairs, its politics shaped by complex interactions on the world stage. One significant shift is the ideological landscape. During my era, ideas of social change and political reform were taking root, with revolutionary fervor in the air. In modern Russia, there has been a resurgence of traditional values and a complex relationship with its Soviet past. The ideological undercurrents have evolved and adapted to the contemporary global context. In summary, Mr. Poe, while some aspects of the Russian soul have evolved, echoes of struggles endured by those of my era persist today. The soul of the nation remains haunted by its past.
A haunting specter indeed. How then, Mr. Raskolnikov, would you compare the leadership of Tsar Nicholas I with that of President Vladimir Putin?
Mr. Poe, the comparison between Tsar Nicholas I and President Putin is an intriguing one, even though they operated in vastly different eras and faced distinct challenges as leaders of Russia. Both figures cast long shadows over their respective times, and I'll endeavor to draw some comparisons while recognizing the profound historical differences.
Please do, good sir, please do.
In 19th century Russia, Tsar Nicholas I was known for his emphasis on autocracy and a highly centralized government. His reign was characterized by strict control over dissent and a conservative approach to governance. In contrast, President Putin, in the modern era, presided over a Russia that emerged from the dissolution of the Soviet Union. He navigated the complexities of a changing global order and faced the challenges of democratization, economic reforms, and post-Soviet transformations. One notable similarity between the two is their commitment to maintaining and promoting Russian national identity and sovereignty. Nicholas I emphasized Russification and cultural preservation, while President Putin's leadership has seen a resurgence of national pride and the assertion of Russian interests on the world stage. Militarily speaking, Nicholas I oversaw Russia's conflicts with European other regional powers, with a glorious victory over Napoleon in 1812 and the disastrous Crimean War in 1856, bookending his reign. While President Putin's leadership has been marked by actions like the annexation of Crimea and involvement in conflicts such as Syria and Ukraine, the international context and Russia's role on the global stage have evolved significantly between these periods.
Very well said, my dear Raskolnikov. Now, if you were to cast the net of comparison wider, which character from Dostoevsky's literary tapestry would you deem most akin to President Putin's?
An interesting question indeed. I believe the character that resonates most with President Putin's enigmatic and enduring power is perhaps Pyotr Verkovensky from Demons. Both wield their influence through manipulation, sowing discord while hiding their true intentions.
I see. Another wonderfully penned character from yet another one of Dostoevsky's masterworks. Now, continuing with our characterization of President Putin, do you believe the president to be a proponent of your theory of the extraordinary man as explored in Crime and Punishment?
Mr. Poe, as you so ably discussed in your excellent overview of the novel, the notion of the extraordinary man is a complex and morally fraught concept, suggesting that certain individuals, driven by a higher purpose or exceptional abilities, might transcend conventional morality and commit acts that would be considered crimes for the betterment of society. It was meant as a philosophical exploration rather than a practical blueprint for action. The consequences of my character's beliefs were profoundly tragic, and I came to recognize the limitations and moral dilemmas inherent in such a perspective. As for President Putin, it is a matter of interpretation and debate whether his leadership aligns with this theory. Mr. Putin, like any global leader, faces the challenges of governing a vast and diverse nation with complex geopolitical realities. Some might argue that the president's leadership style exhibits elements of a strong and decisive leader, one who takes actions he deems necessary for Russia's interests. Others may view his approach as pragmatic and driven by realpolitik, rather than a commitment to the ideals of the extraordinary man.
A perceptive observation of such a delicate topic, my dear guest. And now, let us navigate the stormy waters of contemporary strife. Your thoughts on the Russian-Ukrainian conflict that rages today.
In my time, I grappled with the consequences of my own actions, the guilt that weighed heavily upon me, and the moral dilemmas that tore at my soul. The Russian-Ukrainian conflict, while on a different scale, presents a similar backdrop of human suffering and moral ambiguity.
Please elaborate, good sir.
Well, Mr. Poe, the Russian-Ukrainian conflict that rages in our contemporary world is a matter of profound significance and a stark reminder of the enduring complexities of human relations, where the clash of long-standing interests and ideologies can lead to immense human costs. The tragic plight of ordinary people caught in the crossfire of historical aspirations and grievances, the search for justice and peace, and the struggle to reconcile the past with the present are all too familiar themes.
Yes, all too familiar indeed. And as whispers circulate, do you believe President Putin to be responsible for the demise of Yevgeny Prigozhin, the enigmatic warlord of the Wagner Group?
Alas, attribution without irrefutable evidence is a dangerous path, Mr. Poe. The truth is elusive, and one must tread carefully before casting blame.
A lesson well spoken, my dear Raskolnikov. And now, dear guest, as we draw this ethereal dialogue to its close, any concluding thoughts you wish to share with our audience?
The human heart is a complex labyrinth of motivations and contradictions. In grappling with power, morality, and purpose, we must navigate with introspection and empathy, for the soul of a nation rests upon the choices of its leaders and its people.
Profound words, my dear guest. I thank you for taking the time to grace this forum with your profound insights and observations.
Yes, of course, Mr. Poe. Truly, the pleasure and honor is all mine, having the opportunity to take part in such an interesting and important dialogue with such a literary giant as yourself.
Ah, too kind, good sir. And my thanks go to you as well, my dear viewers, for daring to make the descent with me into yet another tumultuous topic. But before you and I bid our farewells, I ask that you please take the time to share with me your thoughts in the comments section on today's intriguing discourse, as well as your recommendations for future topics and guests. And with that, another installment of A Descent into the Maelstrom comes to a close. Until next time, may the tales and truths they unfold forever shape our understanding as we navigate the raging and unpredictable currents of existence, while always keeping utmost in mind that never to suffer would never to have been blessed.